You can go outside, you can go, okay? You can go potty. Hold on, let me take my dog outside real quick. Be right back. You can go outside. Alright. What's up, gang? Welcome back. Hold up really quick. Let me sign in here. I got a word in my hand. Where's your name? Where's your name? Alright. Let me grab my mouse. Plugged in. Alright, you guys, what's going on? Welcome back to today's stream. Hope you're having a good day today so far. Welcome back. Let's go ahead, get into today. Yeah, so yesterday night I did a little bit of coding off stream. I kind of fine tuned these logs. I had this logger file, which is just some basic boilerplate from the logger docs about just setting up a basic log object and basing that off the file path, right? And then what we do is you just call this setup function whenever at your endpoint to kind of set up a log for that endpoint, and it all kind of will feed into these logs here for us. So pretty nice. I like it so far. Let's go ahead and actually, what I'm going to do is I wanted to run this, increase the chunk size to 7 here, and decrease the sleep period to 1. And then what we're going to do is run this here. And we'll try to see if this gives us any 429s. Or if this is pretty solid. So I added in some additional logic for this safe build function here. Just very simple, it just catches the error and actually does the await for us on the build user for the timeout, so we can catch them individually without passing over them, because I wanted to know why some of our chunk sizes weren't totally resolving, and so that fixed that, not didn't fix it, but it just tells us some more understanding, like, okay, we did actually, we are still timing out on some users still. So the 25 seconds we have here as our timeout um, might not be long enough for some of these and whatnot, but we can decide if we want to increase that to capture pretty much everybody in the pool and whatnot, and kind of mess around with the parameters. But yeah, so that we got the HTTP error there. So now we can have some more information here in our logs, which is really nice to know what's going on. So I did a run yesterday with a chunk size of 5, and it ran pretty well. The chunk sizes of 10, I was getting a few 429s every here and then. So that's why I'm trying this 7 chunk size now. Um, but it looks like we're getting some timeouts. So meaning that like it's looping over the amount of positions, and there's too many positions in the past 30 days, so it goes over that user and skips them. So that's why it's doing that. So we might want to increase that timer if we so feel in our poly world here um, in the timeout. Okay. Hey, Eduardo, how's it going? Thanks for in Brazil. Nice, dude. My parents are actually just in Brazil and Uruguay for a trip. Okay. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Welcome, happy Sunday. I do not want to go to work tomorrow. Oh my gosh, dude, we gotta get this stream going so I can just stream every day, and that's how I make my money. I'm really tired. I'm only been doing full-time work, since college for 4.5 years now, and I'm over it, boys. Cooked. Oh my gosh, we're cooked. It's funny. Where's my control panel? There it is. Okay. All right. I don't think we're getting any 429s, which is good. Our logs are coming in good. So chunk size 7's not bad. Okay, so we're letting that run for today. Let's go ahead and open up a terminal session. Let's go and CD into our client. Right, and that's npm run dev here. Get this going. All right, and then let's go Uvicorn API.main app reload. Open that up. Okay. So we are working on our Bettor search today. Yeah, so Bettor search. This should be a good one. Um, so yeah, what we're gonna do is implement this today. We're gonna try to at least. I hope everybody's having a good day. Welcome in. Um, do I have a job? I have a job as a lab manager. I manage like a molecular biology lab instrumentation stuff. So I do a lot of. I worked as a chemist for 4 years, and then I transferred to this job to a new city to be with my girlfriend and have a little bit better cost of living arrangement. And you know, I was tired of living alone in an apartment and grinding away. So yeah, we kind of switched things up. But yeah, we're not doing anything super technical anymore, which is kind of a bummer. I'm a pretty technical guy in terms of, um, so I think our next step is if we're gonna do another job and do applications and stuff, I think it would probably be going for like dev roles or something. So um, I don't know. I honestly don't. But the thing is me not having a CS degree is I just really have like imposter syndrome. I don't even know if I could even do it, or even have the capabilities or the skills or anything. It's just I don't know. And I also like make a lot of excuses too. Okay, so let's go ahead and wire up this API for the Bettor search. Um, right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a, really quickly here. Let's open up a new terminal. Um, git add, git commit, add logger object. Um, okay, we'll just do that. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go into our API. We have routers. This is going to be bettors.py. Um, and then we're going to have a similar approach here. Yeah. So from fast, let's zoom in here for you guys. Fast API. Let's import router or request, response. We want API router and HTTP exception. Okay, API router and HTTP exception. And then we're going to do from API dot limiter or import our limiter. And then we can get started here by defining a route equals to the API router. And this is going to be slash should we make this? So this will be better search, I guess, like that. API/better search. Okay. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up some routes. So this is gonna be a get, but we're kind of posting some data into our database though. So this will probably be a post. So this will be a router.post. This is going to post to slash on this. How could I do this? So we have leaders. Okay, so it's going to be slash address. That's a decorator, right? My brain's slow this morning. We gotta warm up here. Okay, so we're gonna define a function called, but this needs to, is this gonna be a post? Okay, let's go ahead and ask. Hello, I'm back working on my Polymarket project, wiring up the bettors.py routers, or in API routers, doing a bettors.py file, routing up API routes for the better search functionality. My question is, I'm writing the route for slash address, which would be, API/better search/address, which is the address the user is searching. Would the address, or would this search be a post as it's kind of posting data into our database as well as getting and returning that? Because it's generating the testicles, jeez. What am I saying? Should we try that? Yes, this should be a post using exactly what you said. It's not just retrieving existing data, it's triggering computation, generating new data, and saves it in the database. That's a side effect. The rest rule of thumb: get, read existing data, no side effects. Post, trigger, no action, create something has side effects. Your better search has all three. Okay, so we have better search address. Okay, so def better search, I guess. This is gonna take in so we're gonna have to also import from classes.polywhirl import polywhirl. So better search is gonna take in, we don't need to get from the request anything from the database here, but we do need to say to the database. Okay, so request, which is a request, The response. So responses are. So I don't need a response. Okay, API router. Exception. Okay. This is gonna take in a data object here. JSON. So what do we need to do here? Let's try to think before we like query and get like our steps for us. Let's try to do it ourselves. So let's say we need to run the search for, we need to import the polyworld, so a polyworld instance. So polyworld equals to a polyworld object. We're gonna say address is equal to the data dot address, and we're gonna say and then also the address, and then out of data the, because this will be validated by a response in Pydantic, right? So this is going to be some sort of this is going to be a Bettor search, right? And so we're going to make a class Bettor search, which is going to take in a base model. So we're going to need to come up here from Pydantic, import base model, and then this is going to have a self dot, do you define these as self? I forgot. No. It's going to have a Bettor search is going to have you just need a closing period, which is going to be an integer, and then you need to have a you need to have an address, right, which is a stir. So we might need to can we validate these here? So we might need to, we can ask that if we need to do. Okay, so we have polyworld here, and what we're gonna do is we have address extracted out and closing period. Or close period. Right. Is going to be equal to data dot closed period. We're going to say if adder is none or closed period is none, we're going to raise a HTTP exception and do, so we're also going to import onto here from Python, I think imports, no, fast API imports status code status dot HTTP 400 bad request, something like that, or maybe 401. What's 401? Unauthorized, no, payment forbidden, not found, Method not allowed, not acceptable. Maybe that. 406. And then we'll do detail here of the invalid missing data fields. Okay, so we have a polyworld instance, right? Our polyworld object has our build better function. Build better takes in a search by, close period, right, and an address. So the search by gets filled in automatically by our API, right? So this is going to be via the request data. So right, that's the thing, is we have build better takes in search by, right? We need to, what I'm gonna pass you my code that I have so far. Again, don't write it for me or do too much. I mean, I'm writing this myself, just kind of be the genie on my shoulder, or the professor or TA that I would go to help me along with this, or be like kind of like my manager, I guess. I am checking that the data was passed in and validated through the Bettor search pedantic base model inheritance, and then making sure that that data is valid. Not sure what 400 code to give, but my build better method on polyworld takes in a search by, so I have to pass into this API who did the search, which would probably be needing some sort of dependency, or how is that injected into this API here? Okay, let's get some feedback. Okay. Looks great. Everything is working correctly, and let's break down what you're seeing. Timeouts, addressing. Oh no, hold on. Good progress. The things to address. Good progress. I think wrong syntax. This should be API router / API. Is it wrong? It should be this with syntax and then tags. Okay. So let's fix that up real quick. So router. This is prefix equals to here. Tags equals to a list of better search here, like that. Missing colon on the function definition. Oh yeah, no dirt. None checks are redundant. Pedantic already guarantees those fields exist in the right type before the function returns. Remove those checks. Okay. Do I have those in these ones then? No. Oh. Okay. You're right. Search by this comes automatically from the authenticated user. That's exactly what depends get current user gives you. Add it to your function signature. Okay, that's right. So the depends is what we need to use here. So from fast API, let's also import the depends. And then we have a dependency of get current user via the access token returns a payload, which is the decoded access token, right? Which is this decode based on the algorithm key token. Okay. This is get current verify, which returns user info. That's right. I have to go back and read these. We've been moving so fast on the project that I forget some stuff too. All right. So we have to pass in a current user, right? The current user depends on the call to get current user. From dependencies, import get current user. Then get current user sub is the user's UUID. Pass that as searched by to build better. That's exactly right. And is this a function call? No, it's just a call just to the function. So it depends on this, which will get called automatically. Okay, got you. I remember. So what we can do is we have a polywhirl object here. We can say pw.buildBettor, right? And this will give us an address. We're going to pass in address equals to data.address. Searched by equals to the current user key of sub. The period closed period equals to data.close period, and count appearances equals to true here. Let me go back to my polybase object and make sure that we have count or update better appearances. Yes, we do. Good. Perfect. Nice. Good. So that'll give builder. Now that returns back to us a better. All right, build better will turn back to us a poly user model. Or none. Okay, cool. So we say if better is none, we're going to raise an HTTP exception with the status code for status dot HTTP 420 or 404 not found detail no user so this does raise exceptions, right? So maybe we try and build the better. Try and build the better, except for exception as E. We raise HTTP exception status code status dot HTTP 400 detail E. If Bettor is none, no user found. We might need to refactor the errors that this raises and align them with the API here more closely. So the thing that we can do also is we can do from logger import setup logger, and then we can do import logging. We can do logger is equal to logging logging dot what is it? Shoot. Logging dot get logger underscore name. Logging dot get logger. Wait, what? Oh, it's not. It's a camel case. For the name of this file, right? And then what we're gonna do is call, do we call setup before? Yeah, before we call the logger name. Setup logger. The name of this logger is going to be API slash bettors. So actually we have logger here. For this individual log, we set up a logger here. I think API bettors, and then the log file we're going to log to is API bettors Bettor API Bettor search. And then build Bettor will automatically log, I think, for us. Okay. So then we have the Bettor here, which is generated, which is a polyworld object. Now I don't really want to return the polyworld object. I want to return a call to the database. So like maybe we'll return a Boolean here. Return No, I don't. Let's get some feedback here. Let's get some feedback. Let's go through our thoughts. Say, let's take our build Bettor function. How's it going, Coder? Hey, Emmer. Okay, Kyle, how's it going? Welcome in, you guys. Let's take our build Bettor. well, let's say I have some questions regarding my build better function or method that's within Polyworld and my better search API endpoint that calls this function. I wanted to handle the flow of the call and whether or not I should convert the build better function to be a Boolean type return so that I can generate or that I can receive that I return true, that it was successful, and then call the database to return that rather than returning a poly user model object like the function is currently doing. I'm going to give you my two pieces of code. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's see here. Here's our build better, and here's our setup. Good thinking. It's a question of the return type. My recommendation is keeping the return the poly user model. Here's why. Returning a Boolean forces two round trips. One to build and save, and another to fetch the database and return the user. You already have the data in memory and user, just return it clearly. Because it is a pydantically verified object. Issues in your endpoint. Setup logger called inside the endpoint that runs every single request which adds handles repeated is wrong. Move it to the top of the outside the file of the function, or better use it as use get logger inside since main.py already configures the root logger. Oh wait, hold up. So move it to the top of the file or outside the function, or better yet, use get logger since main.py already configures the root logger. Yeah, the main.py already configures the root logger here. No, it doesn't though. Okay, so maybe what we do is we take this, we go to our main, we import this, so for the logger, the get logger setup, or what is the flow for my routes for logging? I have API slash main.py. That's where I set up the initial logger object, and then do I just pass in or create a logger in each file then? Oh, hey, how does that? The flow is main.py setup logger. This configures the root logger once, and each router file just does, okay, that makes sense. So we I don't think we need this then. Just say setup logger here for API main. Okay. API log. Right? So that sets up the logger. And then in our betters here, you just create a logger off of this file here. Right? And then we can create logs for this specific run, right? So we can say logger.info. We're going to say better, let's say, so we'll make this an F string. Let's say slash API slash Bettor search slash data dot address we'll just say this already logs. So we'll just say post request on here, right, exception, we will do logger dot error e, and we'll say post request init for this, so this is initialized for this address. We log that the Bettor errors here, given a specific detail of, so we'll say what should we say? Bettor search error E here. Logger.info. Let's just take the info here. We'll say post request fin fail or none. I guess I'll use the same kind of format for this guy. Post request fin API Bettor search equal to E, and then this is none. Else we will return Bettor and well, we need to save the Bettor into the data. Well, that already does it for us, right? So polywhirl build Bettor already commits into the database for us on a successful Bettor, so we actually don't need polywhirl to be instantiated in our API here, other than to build the Bettor. We don't need a polybase, I mean, so we don't need the request. So then this just, we can do logger.info and return a post request fin for this route, and we can say success. Suck. Whatever. Success. ALP Gamer, how's it going? Hey Mohammed, welcome in. Welcome in, you guys. Welcome in. Yeah, I think that that's fine. Okay, so we just need to add async def here. Await. Build better. And then any other things we need here? So detail stir E in case if we do that. Okay, so okay, so that'll just automatically just force conversion of the error into a string. Any other recommendations? So we just have to. Okay, let's take this now. Let's get some feedback. Made some adjustments. What do you think? Good login pattern with request in it and fin states two things. Missing return better at the end. You log success but never return to client. Okay, that's my bad. We'll just make it success. You have both in the route, you have address as both a parameter and in the request body via Bettor search. Pick one. Slash brackets addresses is in the route. You have both address as a parameter and in the request body via Bettor search. Pick one. Since you're using your request body, the parameter path is redundant. Simplify it to this. And just use data address everywhere, which you're already doing. Huh, okay. Okay, let's see here. So now what we can do is we need to go to our front end. So let's go git add. Let's add this, add Bettor search post route. Okay. Hey Patchy, what's going on? This man dangerous? What the heck? Dangerous? Dangerous woman. Okay. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is we have we return the Bettor out the post request. So that's fine. So now we need to set up the API route, or fetch to this API route, and send this request from the front end. So let's go to our client, or let's kind of clean up here. Client. We want to go source pages, or hold on, we want to first go utils format. Okay, so now we have this. So we're going to need a function here. It's going to have a similar functionality to this, which will be for Bettor search, right? Which is given a you're given a address, and you're given a closed period, right? So we fetch stringify the address, closing period, post to auth. No, we're going to go to we're going to go to base URL Bettor search. Right, and then send this. Okay, so now on our front end, show my front end. We're going to handle the search. Handle search does this, navigates to leader/input. It's going to be Bettor/user input, which would be the address, right? And so now we need to have a page for displaying this information. So we're going to pretty much copy the leader page almost. We can research how we are going to refactor this so we don't maybe need to copy this whole page. Maybe we can make it a component and pass in some props. But it's the route that is like annoying, because this is leaderboard leader / whatever address, whereas we have Bettor search Bettor address, right? So it's the same kind of, it'll be the same look, but a little bit whatever. So let's just go here. Let's copy this page into, I know this is bad, but we'll come back and we'll try to figure out how to clean this up. So this will be the Bettor.jsx page, right? All this stuff is the same. So we can abstract these out into components and import them in to both of those. So we'll do that before we leave today. So this is the Bettor set Bettor, given the Bettor. Nice. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to go get Bettor. Right, if we go to our client, we need to change this to get Bettor. Okay. So we have get Bettor. Okay, get Bettor here. We have all this stuff. Okay, so cool. So set Bettor, get Bettor, given the address So this is using params. I don't think we want to use params. Okay, so let's take this. Let's go to our cloud. Let's get some feedback. What's going on here? This is my front end fetcher to the API. Wrong URL. Your router prefix is APIs with better search, not better search. Oh, whoops, sorry. Yeah, that's right. APIs better search. Oh, it's a whole object. Okay, so it would be a whole stringify the entire object. To match my pydantic model. Perfect. So this will fill into the pydantic model. Nice. Hey Mohammed, how's it going? You are inspiring me to take some time to make my own programming streams out on YouTube. Nice way to document and maintain consistency. Yeah, dude, nice. Seems like a lot of people have been wanting to do that. It seems like I've kind of helped spark some people's passion for that. So nice. I'm glad that you're wanting to do that. Let me know what's how that goes for you, and let me know what you're working in programming, what you're learning on stream. That should be fun, dude. Okay, nice. So that's fine. So now we have our better page. So now we have the better search page, but now we need an actual better page. I want to reuse basically our leader page, which routes from leaderboard, but I don't want to use the leaderboard route, right? It's going to come from better search and then be the address for that better search. So would I still use params and pull the address out of the URL to then run in the use effect, or how would that work? Same pattern exactly. Use parameters whatever the URL is, regardless of whatever it came from. So better search page uses user searches address and success it navigates to better. Okay, so we need that. So better search, it navigates to better / address, right? The better page loads. Use parameter reads from the URL, the address. Use effect calls get leader, or the new get better profile address renders the stats. Yeah. Perfect. So then let's go here. Every time we say leader, we need to change this. Set better. Let's change to better. Oh, shoot. Yeah, we definitely can pass props into this and reuse this whole page for sure. I'll go back through and do that. I'm just going to do a rough fill here. We don't need to be duplicating all of this whole page like this. Better board. So the back is going to be to Bettor search. Okay, so we're going to take a test address here. And we're going to try this out. Ah, it broke. Unauthorized. No routes matched to this. Okay, no routes matched to Bettor/that. Okay, so we have to add the app on our. I forgot. Sorry. Oh, so we have. Let's copy this one down. This is me. Bettor search, address. So Bettor search. Where is the. Where's the way I can set this page URL? I forgot. Um, app. Bettor/address, but I want it to be Bettor search/address. Passing in the Bettor. Right, so this is. How do I define this row? Ah, shoot. I forgot. How can I make this? So this just fetches the API route and returns that. This is just the middleman. This isn't anything to do with it. It's got to be here somehow. Oh, because it routes to Bettor address, I think, in Bettor search. Yeah, here. So now we'll go back, paste this address in. Copy this address, paste that in. Not found. suck at front end so bad. Failed to load resource. The server responded with status of 404 not found. Failed to load resource server 404 not found. And then authorized. Unauthorized. So Bettor was none. Did we get a log? Check the logs. Check the logs. Oh crap. I'm trolling, I don't know. And that didn't even write anything. Huh. Okay, let's take our Bettor page. Let's take our Bettor page. Let's get some feedback. Good work getting this build out. Okay. Get Bettor address and the close period. But we don't have this here. Close period. Address and close period uses params for those two. Let's say period. No, let's say close period. Because it's closed. It doesn't apply to the open positions. So good work on building this out. Bettor addresses in the use effect, you're missing close period, but here's the problem. The Bettor page doesn't know what the close period was used. You have two options. Pass it via navigation state from the search page, or two, stored in the URL. Add a period to the route and use it with use params. So we'll call number on the close period for this address. For get Bettor takes in the address and close period. Right? And so then we call this API, which has data here, which is close period and address. Okay. Disclosure on open close. So get better is a post that generates a user snapshot. As I mentioned earlier, every time someone visits the page, it will trigger a new build better call and save another snapshot. It's probably not what you want. Okay. So now let's try it out. Oh, so we want to do single better builder. Copy that. Just refresh. 404 not found. Okay, we're not getting anything. We're not getting. So we're getting 404 not found. So if I try to sign in though, we need to maybe register. Oh. Okay. Dang. Uh, Crap. I have no idea what's going on. Um, so then our app though, API better search is giving me not found for that.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay? Absolutely.
So the better search address period. No routes match location. Better search. For that route. Okay, so hold up. Failed to reload. Disconnects. This could be disconnected involving. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's take our better search page. Let's feed it here. Let's get some feedback. I use AI sometimes to help me here, like we are now. This looks really clean. Good work on the page. There are a few things to flag. Navigation route is a problem. You're navigating to better search period that has a route triggers another search. You want to navigate to the better result page, not back to the search page. Bettor slash user input period. You check starts with and link, but value is exactly is equal to, not is equal to. And then we can move this to the outside of the render. Okay, and then the footer here. Okay. So then let's give it our Bettor page and make sure everything's lined up here. That's It's got some bugs here. We're trying to line up between all these pages. It's hard when you're going front end to back end to front end. It's gets confusing. Oh no, not here. This be 30-day, and so Bettor though footer. Probably should abstract this out into its own component as well, right? Because then this is going to be close period. So Bettor. I don't get it. So we're in here. We add the address from our single Bettor. We search. No routes match Bettor slash that slash 30. Why are we getting this error? Your route and app.jsx include the close period parameter. Paste your current app.jsx. Bettor. Four not found. We still getting no valid location. Is our backend working? Yeah. This doesn't make any sense. Anybody have any ideas? Hey David, how's it going? ACAS, welcome in. Tim, what's going on? The error says no times when your navigation is going towards the wrong path. Check your Bettor search JSX page. So on success, where is this routing to? Bettor user input period. Um, 404 not found.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay? Absolutely.
We're not even getting any message. We're just getting not found for the page. What the heck? I don't get it. Not found. Why are we getting 404 now? Oh, I forgot. We haven't done this part in a while. Yes! Woo! Let's go! Nice! Let's go. So the last update it isn't working here. Let's go. Let's see what was sent. Username, address, join, balance, URL, trades, resolved wins, resolved losses, unresolved predictions, unresolved. Okay, so we need to add onto here. We need to add onto here. We need to add onto here the we need to add on the time, right? So this snapshot was taken just now. right? So let's go to our Polywhirl for build better here. So this takes the timestamp good. And it saves and returns user here. I guess returns user and timestamp. So we'll send an object back to the front end or to our API. Our API will receive the object response object, right? If response object key of we're receiving data, which is a better search. Oh, no, that's fine. Because there's a polywhirl model, poly user model. Then the response object is going to be here for better. If that is none, we raise this error. Else we return the response object. Okay, the response object gets returned. Then our better page gets better, calls get better. You have data here. Set better to key of better. Right? Set okay. You set timestamp. And then up here in the top, what the heck? Cross origin. I'll say I am trying to, in my Polyworld build better, I take a timestamp and then I use that timestamp to save the better. But I don't actually apply that timestamp into the poly user model. The poly user model doesn't actually take in a timestamp at all for this object. So should I then what I'm doing is I'm passing the timestamp and the poly user model in an object, or returning that to the API. And so, yeah. Good catch. You're right. Polyuser model doesn't have a timestamp field. This is the stats data. The timestamp belongs to the snapshot, not the model. You have two clean options. Return a tuple of build better of user and timestamp, and then await those return. Return a dict with both. But honestly, the simplest approach is to not return the timestamp from build better at all. The endpoint doesn't need it. The timestamp was already saved in the build in the database during the save phase. When you return user the poly, when you return user the user model to the endpoint, just serialize it directly. If the front end needs a timestamp, add a get function. Okay, that's fine. That's okay. We'll do that then. So we'll go back on what we did here. Okay, we'll go back on what we did here. Okay, so then what we should do. What we should do. Okay, what we should do is my ear. Ah, the AirPods be hurting my ear. Um, shoot. So we have that. Then what we'll do is in betters, we return better back. We should add a request here, and we should do um, so our database is equal to this state in our side of our app. We are then going to take our database and call, well, we add this, we build the user, we call db.get timestamp given better dot address. Right? So get better timestamp. So then in our polybase, where we have get better timestamp given a address, which is a str. So if not address, we're going to raise a value error saying polybase error, no address. Timestamp. Okay, we have query is equal to select max timestamp okay, last updated from Bettor fields. Select last updated from Bettor where address is equal to this, and then we'll do self dot query, and then we'll query this SQL query with the values equal to a list, which is address here. And we're going to return, and we need to do fetch one is true. Okay, so that'll get better timestamp. So now in our Bettor, it calls set Bettor. Okay, so then in our API, right, we have this, we get a timestamp, get better timestamp. Get better last updated rather. And then we have a timestamp here. Return Bettor. Timestamp. No, maybe we just return the Bettor here. We don't do this. Let's just do at router.get Bettor. Get Bettor last updated. So this will be async def. Okay. right, which takes in request. Which is a request. We don't need that there. Current user, which equals to depends on get current user. Okay, so what this function will do is it's going to, it's just going to basically, I'll kind of copy this format here. Logger post in or get request API bettors. Better search. So you give it this, you have to pass it data though. A better search. So you would do your dot address. You don't need a polywhirl. You just do try except. Try except db.get. So we have to do db is equal to request.app.state.db.get better last updated, right, given data.address. This is going to be here. Okay. Return last updated. So if we take this route, get better last updated. So are you coding for fun or kind of cause? I'm just tired of answering those dumb questions about AI stuff. People just watch the stream for more than 5 minutes and they'll figure out that we go back and forth. Is this a series? I started back in March building this, so like beginning of March. Hey Vibe Music, how's it going? Thanks for coming in. What's up? Are you use the same? No, I'm using Fast API, not Django right now. If you guys aren't subscribed, if you guys could subscribe, we're almost to 5,300 subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys so much for hanging out. Okay, let's keep pushing. So Okay. A get endpoint shouldn't have a request body. Get requests don't have bodies by convention, and fast API clients don't support a reliably move address to a query parameter instead. No request body. It just isn't address. It's just stir. Right. Then the API calls it like this. So now in our front end, Bettor, get Bettor. So then we have a polybase is already written of get Bettor last updated here. Right, we already did this. And for now, the question is, what exactly using the endpoint for? You're checking the Bettor at certain. Well, that's the thing is that to display the timestamp on the front end for the snapshot. Then in our client.js, we would need an endpoint. Get Bettor last updated, given the address, which would fetch API Bettor search. Such Bettor last updated. Include the address, right? So it actually wouldn't have a header body here. This is a fetch, a get, so it would be here with and then address here. Right? So I'd get Bettor last updated. Then return back what we want. Now on the Bettor page, well, this is okay. Okay, we're opening that up. Bettor search. Cannot read properties undefined. Starts with okay, yeah, Bettor. Um, so my Bettor JSX. What's wrong with this? Good progress. A few things. Set loading false calls in use effect using finally. Set loading false on both fetches. So you just use effect, set loading, error, null, set Bettor, null. Promise.all. Get Bettor. You should do promise.all. Then a list of promises. What are our list of promises? Well, we have get Bettor and get last. And get last updated. Dot then Bettor data. If you have this, you have Bettor data unpacked, and you have last updated data, right? Then you call a multiple function, or a function here, and you set Bettor data. You set Bettor data, and then you to Bettor data, and you set Bettor last updated to last updated. Okay. And then that closes the then catch message. False. Dot catch set error dot e message. Finally set loading false. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this little syntax thing. There we go. So if we take the Bettor address here, okay, so it can't trinket username for the Bettor. This is returning back just the Bettor. Build Bettor is returning back just the Bettor. There we go. So our Bettor here last updated invalid date. I think this is a JSON object. Yeah, there it is. Nice! Woo! All right. Nice. Okay, I think we are getting down to it here. So we have the ability. Let's go to Polymarket. Let's find just a random address. DJ Pump. No, we gotta find someone with some actual A train. Sure. Let's take this guy. Go back to Bettor search. Paste in his address. And let's search. Dang. No user last updated. Got a bug. No. No. I think what I'm going to do So I think what I'm gonna do right now, it's running those concurrently, right? It's trying to run those at the same time. It's trying to get the last updated while also getting the user. And if it hasn't been in there before, then it's not gonna turn out okay. So this literally has timestamp and leader snaps fields. Okay, what I'm gonna do is in my poly market or poly user model, going to add a timestamp, which is going to be a date time. Okay. We're going to go here. Go to this. We're going to stop our backend. We're going to go drop table users. I don't need to drop table users. Drop table leaders, leader, snaps, betters, and better snaps. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is in our poly whirl, what I'm gonna do is we have build users here, which passes a timestamp into the save function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my poly, back to my poly model here. I'm going to make this an optional date time. Right? Yeah, it has to be dot date time. Right? Okay, we'll make an optional date time. And then what I'll do is in bettors.py, I'm going to remove this. We don't need this function anymore. That was garbage. Polybase, we don't need this function anymore. That's trash. And we don't need get better last updated here. What I'm going to do is in poly user model, we have this as optional timestamp. And so in our poly whirl, right, the object that does everything, our engine, this builds users and optionally, this doesn't save a timestamp into them because we're saving them automatically into leaderboard auto, whatever. But in build better, we have a user given back to us here. It passes in a timestamp and calls save better. So that's insert Bettor. So insert Bettor, we have a poly user model and we're dumping the data out. Then we're getting all of the items, and then for every key, which has timestamp in here, we're updating user data saying timestamp. Then we're saving that into our schema. Come on, stay with me here, Mike. So, we have address, username, joined, URL, and user data here that we're feeding. We're creating user data and user snapshot data. We're saying that user data has a last updated, which is equal to timestamp given here. Well, poly user model has a timestamp associated with it already now. So poly user model in data is going to have a timestamp key. So user data is going to have a timestamp already in there. So user data last updated equals to timestamp. I don't think it really matters necessarily, right? Because the timestamp key is going to get filled in here. We're filling in the user data dictionary and the user snapshot data with the data. We're parsing through the data here and filling into these two dictionaries depending on which keys are here. So users keys timestamp was passed in, but poly user model already has a timestamp applied to it. So I'm going to remove the timestamp from here and say that the last updated is in because data, user data is now getting a key of timestamp. No, this is if key in here. And then else, so timestamp is getting shot into here. Because take Bettor snapshot takes in that timestamp. Right? Well, so the thing is the poly user model has a timestamp applied to it already. So that's what we need to focus on here. So poly user model has a timestamp already for when the snapshot took place. When this model was created. So we are applying last updated for user data so we can make the schema here for leaders field or whatever, last update for the Bettor equal to the timestamp given, which would be inside poly user model now. But we're already applying so we just need to do poly user model dot timestamp here. Right. And so then the address gets updated and linked to both of them. And then we fill in automatically into the columns, right? And so take Bettor snapshot, user snapshot data. User snapshot data already has a timestamp in there, right? Because snapshot's not in here, so it gets defaulted into user snapshot data. That timestamp gets applied to the value that we're on. So user snapshot data, we don't need that in there anymore. Take Bettor snapshot is here. Timestamp is user snapshot data dot key of timestamp. Well, we already have user snapshot data timestamp is already in there, so we don't need that actually. Okay, so let's think about what we just did. We made polyuser model have an optional snapshot or timestamp according to when it's created, right? Our polywhirl, engine here builds a Bettor by generating that polyuser model. So this user has a timestamp in it. The save Bettor doesn't need to take in a timestamp anymore, because the save Bettor now, we don't need to take a timestamp here, because a timestamp is we build user, we build a user, and that Bettor gets saved. That Bettor gets saved here. Save Bettor doesn't take in the timestamp anymore. Yes, it does. I'm screwing things up bad here, boys. Someone's bugging me. Oh, this sucks. Okay, so we refactored and we're getting deep here, but we're not solving the problem. Okay, so the polyuser model takes in an optional timestamp. So polywhirl builds a bunch of bettors. Those don't have any timestamps associated with them. The timestamp is here. We feed a timestamp into save leader here and take a snapshot true. Here, however, we take the timestamp. We have a user which builds user. Right, and we apply user.timestamp equals to timestamp here. Okay, we then save the Bettor which takes in the Bettor polybase times. No, we don't need the timestamp. So save Bettor. I don't think takes in a timestamp anymore because we have polyuser model which has the timestamp in it. And we insert Bettor here via here. Perfect, which takes polyuser model, searched by, closed by, perfect. So now we do last updated for the user data is equal to the timestamp given in polyuser model And user snapshot data has a timestamp in it now because it gets filtered into there. So take snapshot just takes in user snapshot data. Take Bettor snapshot doesn't need a timestamp anymore. User snapshot data is the timestamp. And you get out all its keys and values. Perfect. Okay, so I think that that'll work. I think that that's fine. We might have fixed that up. So why did we do that? So now our Bettor's page, right? Our Bettor page will not need all of this mumbo jumbo. So get Bettor for the address and the close position, right? Set Bettor to the data. Okay. Now Bettor dot last updated here. We don't have the last updated because that's from the, this would be timestamp. Okay. So now if we go like this, go to our backend. Okay. Go here, go leaderboard, there should be nothing there. Okay. Do Bettor search, however. We take a address, search, root timestamp. You get Bettor as no attribute timestamp. Bettor. Builds Bettor, returns a Bettor. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna take my polywhirl. I'm trying to figure this out. So the issue is So post requests. API better search for this address, none type out under timestamp and no dictionary settings, new attributes. So attribute timestamp. Okay, so this is what I'll do. I'll say I took my poly. So I say instead of all of this, what I did was I'm adding a optional timestamp to the poly user model so that we can optionally fill the timestamp in the Bettor's build Bettor. We don't have to. We don't fill it in the build leader because that is building all those leaders at once, and we don't want to go through each of them and attach on the timestamp. The timestamp gets just filled in into the save phase, and that save phase then gets brought back, or that database save gets then loaded onto the front end. Whereas this one, we're kind of just returning back the model directly rather than returning what was loaded from the database, make kind of like short circuiting it. So we can apply the timestamp onto the model and then return the model back to us. But I'm currently getting an error. Right, something like that. Let's see. Good instinct. Adding an optional timestamp to the poly user model can return it directly from build Bettor without a second DB round trip is clean. Paste the error in your updated user model into here. So this is my poly user model. Right, my Bettor page. And then polywhirl for build Bettor for my functionality. Let's go to our poly view. Oh, there we go. There we go. It was just that. It was just that. It was just another default thing on timestamp for the Pydantic model. Okay, so now if we take an address here, event, let's take A train. Copy his address. Paste that here. A train. Woo! Let's go! Nice. All right. Okay, so for those that are new here, my name is Michael. Hello. I'm sorry I've been kind of not talking to chat in the past like hour as I've been just trying to debug this feature that we've been adding on here. So thank you so much for being here and joining me. So what this is this is Polymarket, or Polywhirl, a prediction market using Polymarket APIs, for generating more niche statistics, kind of a data pipeline. So what this is a site called Polywhirl, right? You have a leaderboard. The leaderboard is a free product for anybody to partake in, if you have an account on the page or like whatever. So I think that'd be a cool feature for everybody. Now, what the leaderboard is we have this cron job that we're going to set up. We don't have it currently set up as a cron job, but we have this build leaderboard thing here. So hold on, let me really quickly make sure that that save. So we're doing poly whirl here, build users. So this is, we're not attaching the timestamp onto each poly user here, and then it's saving the leader and inserting the leader. Now this has a timestamp key onto it, which has none attached to it. So snapshot data gets timestamp key, or a key timestamp here with a none attached to it. Last updated gets to here, snapshot here. Okay, so what we need to do is delete. We need to delete out of user snapshot data the timestamp key. Because take leader snapshot will add the timestamp into the snapshot data to take the snapshot. Right? So what we have to do is here we loop through all of these, and then we need to go delete user snapshot data key of timestamp. So this will delete the timestamp none that's in user snapshot data. Apply the timestamp that was passed in as a parameter to the user data last updated, and then take that timestamp and pass it into the leader snapshot, and then the leader snapshot will update the. So let's just do this actually. Let's just take. Let's just actually go user snapshot, user here, timestamp is equal to timestamp, right? That'll update the dictionary here. And then let's just remove the timestamp that was passed in here, giving the user snapshot data. And then you have leader snapshot here. We already have a timestamp in there. We don't need that. And then that'll save automatically, and we can remove that. Okay, I think that'll be good too. So let's go back to our program here. And let's go ahead and open up our terminal, and let's run Python build leaderboard. Oh, leaderboard builder, sorry. All right, so there goes the leaderboard builder. So what you guys, if you guys are new, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Michael. I'm a scientist. I have a degree in biology and chemistry. I worked as a biochemist for 4 years, a little over 4 years for a biotech company where I manufactured on the bench and in like a large lab. Biological controls at from pilot to mass scale, so like 1 liter to 4,000 liters, kind of doing various like large batch scaling of biological controls, from plasma base, chemical base, serum base, biological based, a lot of mammalian sourced like cultures and things like that. And processing those using like immunoassay detections and things like that. I had a lot of instances in my job coming out of college where I felt that I was doing a lot of manual and archaic work using Microsoft Excel for computing like a lot of like chemical matrices. And I was thinking like, why do we have like driving cars and iPhones, and yet I'm still computing these chemical matrices by hand? So that's what sparked me to want to teach myself how to code about 2 years ago. So I started teaching myself how to code. I started with Python, Harvard CS50P, and Python Crash Course, the book. I read that book in tandem with Harvard CS50P and completed it over the course of a summer. And then I pitched a project to my work saying, okay, I kind of learned how to use Python, and I think I can maybe try to figure this out. So I pitched the project to my management for writing a software tool for automating this matrix formulation, and they accepted it and gave me the resources and time in my schedule to focus on it. And actually, last year in October time, I was able to finish it up, and write the script and front end and back, and the entire GUI for it using Python, um, like Tkinter and things like that, custom Tkinter, and it works really well. It completely solved the need, or the lack of resources we had for computing these matrices, and it solved it in a way that's like completely optimized rather than having human interpretation and error. So it's all like optimized via like some linear programming and linear algebra methods that I got help with from my colleague. Um, so yeah, we were able to figure that out and write that project for the company, and that's what helped project me into my new current role, which is kind of more of a administrative kind of management role of a lab. I oversee all of the equipment inside of a very large CAP-CLIA laboratory for like molecular biology. So I have to like I do a lot of like write scripts for key performance indicators, and tracking of various equipment models, and troubleshooting, working with external vendors, and it's much more like administrative management stuff, things that laboratories need. So I kind of wish I was maybe back on the. I do enjoy maybe more of the bench work kind of the science things, like, but this, I do write more code this way, doing KPI tracking, and I actually, wrote. Um, we have a little service that we use online, and that offers API endpoints. So I actually wrote a couple of programs in my first week for kind of tapping into those API endpoints using sign-ins, using like environment sign-in variables. So I just used like an environment variable and got some credentials synced up, and was able to pull all of that data and start doing some loops over it to track like downtime statistics and like overall like metrics for the life cycle of the equipment and the genetics testing machines and things like that. Um, Anywho, that's kind of where I am right now. And so this project we've been building Polywhirl is a pretty cool project in my opinion. It's definitely the best project that we've built so far. We have user authentication, forgot and register reset password. We have two main project features right now. We're currently fine tuning the second feature. But our first feature is a free feature to everybody, which is the leaderboard. Currently in the background, you see a job running. This is writing logs for this job that's in the background that I wrote for parsing through Polymarket's leaderboards across all of their filters, and pulling out all of the unique addresses, running a sweep across them for their positions in the past 30 days and all of their open positions, and generating some niche statistics about each bettor. So this is the leaderboard feature, and then we were working on earlier debugging and fixing the bettor search feature. So we implemented and wrote up the API routes today for this. So you have the ability to search individual addresses and generate statistics for them. So if we see this, I'll go to, let me go to Polymarket. Let me go to trending. Let me do home. Let's go to, where's the leaderboard? Where's the leaderboard? Where is it? Polymarket leaderboard. Okay. Let's grab someone from here. Reaching the sky. All right, let's do this guy. So what I want to do, I want to find someone that's been trading quite a bit. Let's do him. I want to make sure that our client, our individual parameters here for doing the sweep is working. So we probably would need to update though in Polywhirl. We, well, this is what does the timeout is in the builder, right? The builder is what does, um, hold on. I'm looking for the, what am I looking for? I forgot my train, lost my train of thought. Um, how close are we really to releasing it? Um, I don't know. I still got to figure out how I'm going to host it and run this cron job automatically and do a lot of debugging on the front end and cleaning things up. Hopefully by maybe like summertime we could release it and just get things going, or at least soon we might be able to release the leaderboard portion and have people start using and interacting with that in the free and making an accounts and stuff and start, we could put on a resume, hey, we got like 500, you got 500 users on our product, like that'd be a pretty cool milestone, right? We can use this channel to hopefully get some users pretty quick. But what was I looking for? Oh, the timeout. The timeout period. So this is 30 seconds. I'm going to make this 60 seconds on the build better, individual better. Okay. So if we do 30 days for this better, we get this. Okay. 213, 282. Okay, if we go back, we do 60 days for this better. Okay, it's working. It's working. Oh, let's go. Okay, so it's working. Okay. And then let's do 90 days for this better. Let's go. It's working. It's working. What was 60 days? We already did it. What was 1.9? Was that 1.4? Yeah, it's different. Yeah, so you can see that the filters here, it's pulling more data. Oh, let's go! It's fast too. Nice. Wow, let's go. This looks really good. This is a cool product. Like it actually has some real world value. Like I actually could see people actually using it and I'd pay $5 for if I was seriously using this data to make bets and stuff. Where are we at here in our? We're on chunk 43 out of 62. Okay, we're almost done with the leaderboard sweep. Almost done. Let me know what you guys think so far. Oh yeah, sorry Francis, there is no team on the project. It's just me, just building this thing live here. I've offered to, have people come and join me, but when push comes to shove and I try to set up things for people to peer code with me and work alongside me and things like that, they just they shy away. All right, where's our job at? We're at 45 out of 62. We're almost there. It's definitely longer than the 10 sweeps, right? It's going though. This is good. Okay, let's check the logs for our API log. Single better save, and initialized. Post request and saved. Post request initialized. Is it doing it twice? Let's see. Let's go back. Let's watch the logs here. So we're at 182. Yeah, it's logging twice. Why does it... To fix to guard against adding handlers so they already exist in your set of logger. The fix is to guard against adding handlers if they already exist in your setup logger function. So, if root logger not handlers. Okay, so we just need to add kind of this line here. Logger get logger set level. If root.logger. Okay, it should be almost done. Okay, so now the leaderboard's done. Now we should be able to go back, and there it is. So I'm going to take Countryside's address, and I'm going to take a closer look at him. Nice. This looks really good. Using exposure and a 90-day realized P&L. So we gotta go to the disclaimer here on the 90 days. Okay, cool. All right, this looks really good. All right, cool. We've made a lot of improvements. I made a lot of good work on the project so far. I think it looks really, really nice for the products that we have to offer, and it's really coming together here. We just kind of need to figure out the protections from paid um, versus free users, right? And then this will go to profile, search history. Ah! All right, guys. Cool. Good stuff going on here. So we got to clean some stuff up, but I'm gonna grab some lunch. I'll probably be back on later today, where we'll continue on with our project. If you guys aren't subscribed, if you guys could please subscribe. We got 13 people still in here watching, so if we get to 5.3K, that'd be great. Thanks so much for being here. I'll be back later today. We'll play some Stardew Valley probably later tonight as well. But this is Polyworld. We successfully have the leaderboard up and working. We have the Bettor search up and working for various addresses. Grab an address, paste that in, pick a day period, search. There it goes. Boom. Looks really good. All right, you guys. This has been a good session today. We've primarily we focused on writing up these APIs for better search and debugging and figuring out all of the issues that we needed there. But everything looks really, really solid. I'm super happy. Thank you guys so much for being here for right now. This is Polywhirl. It's a data pipeline for prediction market data that you have a leaderboard here. You can generate and then you can view niche statistics about their positions for the past 30 days. And then you can even go back and search for users altogether. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.